the OldPreMeds podcast, session number 71. You're a non-traditional student entering the medical field on your terms. You may have had some hiccups along the way, but now you're ready to change course and go back and serve others as a physician. This podcast is here to help answer your questions and help educate you on your non-traditional journey to becoming a physician. Welcome to the OldPreMeds podcast. My name is Dr. Ryan Gray, and I am your host here on this podcast, as well as the Pre-Med Years, the MCAT podcast, and Specialty Stories. Go check out everything that we do at mededmedia.com. Now, today I have a great question from somebody that's posting about giving up on MD. And it was an interesting question, so it made me click through and think about, maybe they are giving up on becoming a physician. But as I dug into the question, that's not exactly what they're talking about at all. So let's go ahead and dive into the question. This is from Dolehead, who posts a lot in the forums. And he, I believe it's a he, says, so I'm beginning to realize that I might have to give up on MD and focus on DO only. I'm taking OChem 2 and philosophy this summer, and will have all prereqs completed except Biochem and Bio 3 for those schools that require it. Although I wanted to take OChem at another place, I had to take it at this community college because of timing. Problem is that this community college is one of those real, quote-unquote, Harvard on the Hill types. Science classes and labs are loaded up with busy work and homework. I'm starting to realize that the bulk of my MCAT prep will have to happen after the semester ends, which means June and July, and MCAT July 28th. That would push my application into mid-September, and my understanding from that other site, Student Doctor Network, is that mid-September is quite late for MD, but on time for DO. So what to do? Give up hopes of MD, stick with the DO cycle only, apply MD, and hope for a miracle. I don't have a problem with DO per se, as my ultimate goal is family medicine or internal medicine. The only issue I have with DO is that most schools have you move after second year and then again after third year. There are a few schools that allow both clinical years to be completed in the same town, and those would be the ones I would target. I would not want to apply to schools such as PNY or PNWU, Pacific Northwestern University, for example. I don't want to be moving between Alaska, Oregon, Washington, Montana, and Idaho every 3 months for rotations. My number one choice is UC San Diego, but that's going to be a tough one unless my MCAT score rocks. My estimated GPA, a science GPA, is 3.63. I am a ORM, an overrepresented majority. Will have mediocre ECs and LORs, and don't have any kind of amazing life story. So, an ORM, overrepresented, not a URM, underrepresented minority, interested in UC San Diego, but is taking a late MCAT. So, July 28th MCAT is late, and it's not terrible. I mean, it's kind of bad. If you look at July 28th, you're going to get the score back, or the school's going to get the score back on Tuesday, August 29th. So end of August, which means it's going to be a late August date. Now, I recently talked to a pre-med advisor at a local school here who reached out to, I think she said 15 medical schools. And they were talking about sending committee letters. And if a late August committee letter would still be okay. And out of the 15 schools, I think she said 13 or 12 of them said, no problem, we still consider that early. 2 of them or 3 of them said, we would prefer mid-August would be better. And that surprised me. And again, it's a small sample size. It's only 15 schools out of the 170 or whatever we have now. Maybe I should know that number off the top of my head. But it goes to show you that a lot of schools out there are still kind of ramping up their admissions stuff in August and September. Now remember that the normal time frame, submit in June, schools get your primary application, the ACOMAS application, the schools start to get it early June this year, and the AMCAS application, they're not getting until late June, which is the standard time frame. They send you secondaries, you fill those out, and let's assume schools start to receive secondary applications starting mid-July, just to give us a nice round number, mid-July. Then interview invites start to go out. Obviously, applications start to get looked at, and then interview invites go out. And then from there, they start accepting people after interviews. So what you have to think about is where you are in line. If you're going to take a late MCAT, I still need you to apply early, get your application in as early as possible, have those transcripts verified early, because that's the biggest hang up in the application. Is that's a manual process done by people. And so you need to get in line to get your transcripts verified, get those applications out, start to fill out those secondaries, and have the only thing that the school is waiting for is an MCAT. So with that said, there's no reason to quote unquote give up on MD, because you just apply and you see. I wouldn't not apply to MD schools just because it's later in the application cycle. I also disagree with the fact that it's still on time for DO, and even considering now, or with considering that the DO applications start to go out before MD applications. I'm not sure if there's some strategic move by ACOMAS to do that, to maybe try to get students interviewing sooner to DO schools and later at MD schools, and maybe bring some over to the dark side and see what happens. I don't know if there's some strategic move there. My guess is that maybe there is, but I don't know. So I don't like the thinking give up on MD because it's a later application. There are plenty of people that get accepted to MD schools, to DO schools, that apply late. Yes, you need good scores. Yes, you need good stats to bring you over the hurdle, because it's a rolling admissions process, and that's part of the reason I don't agree with it's still on time for DO. It's because it's still a rolling admissions process at most schools, and if you are applying late to either application cycle, you're going to be later in the cycle for everybody. So that means there's going to be less interview spots available. And if you do get an interview and you are interviewed, it's going to typically be a little bit later. And when you interview later, there are typically less acceptances to hand out because it's a rolling admissions process. So don't give up on MD. Apply to both MD and DO. And do your best. Give it your best shot. The old college try. Ideally, you're taking the MCAT earlier, but it is what it is. So do your best and let us know how it goes. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that as you are on this path, considering when to take the MCAT, you understand that taking it earlier in the application cycle, and this year, as I'm recording this, 2017, the latest that I'm pushing some students back to is mid-June, because then you'll get your score back mid-July, which we said was the date that secondaries are coming back if you're staying up to date with those. And so it's not delaying the application a lot, if at all. So mid-June is still okay. Ideally, April or March or April to take the MCAT, but if you need to take it a little bit later, take it a little bit later. You obviously want to take it when you're prepared, not just take it early because you have to take it early. That's a big differentiation. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, go to oldpremeds.org, sign up for an account, and ask away. Let us know how we can help you on your journey. Have a great week. We'll see you next week here at the Old Pre-Meds podcast.